In what's considered to be one of the largest displacements by ISIS to date, the UN has reported that as many as 200,000 Syrians will flee an attack on Hasaka, Syria. ISIS launched an assault on Assad's held area. They're capturing at least one entire area of that district in the city that lies close to both the Turkish and Iraqi border. Along with this attack, a second twin attack by ISIS in Kobani is the second biggest civilian mass murder to date by the caliphate. 146 civilians were killed so far. Nick, that number is climbing. This group of cowardly thugs took Kurdish uniforms. That's how they got into Kobani. They were dressed like Kurdish fighters to be able to gain access. 3 suicide car bombs later, they've killed 146 people. The number's climbing. You see images like this. They're so heart-rending. People are throwing their babies over barbed wire to escape these thugs, and we're just sitting by, we're watching it happen. They're spilling over into border countries. Turkey, not necessarily Iraq. You and I discussed this last week. Lebanon has actually put a moratorium saying we're not going to take any more. They've stopped the registration, and these people have nowhere to go, and no one is helping them, it seems like. And
it seems like there's no clear end in sight. I mean, we know that it's believed that in Iraq, up to 3 million people have been displaced alone in Iraq, which is just unbelievable amount of people that had to flee their homes just because of the fighting that goes on between ISIS and the armies over there. And it's just really hard to watch these images and kind of know that, in the West, there's really nothing you can do about it. And these things are happening. It's sad. And like you said, countries are sitting idly by. The U.S. is one of those that doesn't want to get too involved. I mean, we are carrying out these airstrikes and stuff like that, but at the same time, we're not putting boots on the ground. We don't want to get into that whole mess again. So it's very complicated, very complex situation, and it affects the whole entire world.
Right. Well, you mentioned airstrikes. They picked Hasaka, which was one of Assad's last controlled cities. And in Hasaka, they understood that it was complicated, that we couldn't get to our allies to help with these airstrikes and air support, which is why they did this here, because they understand the dynamics of this game and whom and where to target, which makes it particularly disgusting for me. But I'm really glad that we're talking about this. Hopefully we can get people tuned in to understanding the plight of these people. 200,000 people running for the border, throwing their kids over is a very big deal. This is a full-scale global humanitarian issue. It's not a single country issue anymore. And hopefully we can get people to pay attention, and hopefully, what can people do other than, contact a member, say that we want to help, your own member reaching out to Congress. That's one aspect, but just having a voice for these people who can't talk for themselves is another aspect entirely.
Yeah, a very sad situation. And like you said, it does affect the whole world. Not just, you mentioned Turkey and Lebanon, for example. We're going to see a lot of people trying to get into those countries, obviously because they're close by and they're bordering. But the thing is, this affects the whole world. We see all these people trying to leave from Libya, right, that are trying to go into the Mediterranean. A lot of people are dying doing that. So it affects the entire economy, the world economy, and a lot of other countries that aren't even close in the region. The saddest part about this, I mentioned in the beginning, is the fact that there's no clear end in sight. We see ISIS recruiting, carrying out attacks in other countries like Libya and even Yemen now. So, it's not a coincidence that all these countries have this huge power vacuum there where this stuff is allowed to happen.
Right. Well, we'd love to know what you think at home about what the U.S. specifically should do in terms of a strategy, if they should get involved or when they should get involved, if at all. Also about the plight of these people. Please log on, post your comments below about this story. While you're at it, be sure to check out the rest of our channel and subscribe to the LIP TV 2.